Have you ever noticed how the loudest voice in the room is rarely the most powerful one? Think about it. The people who shout, who rush to prove themselves, who argue endlessly to win, do they truly hold authority, or do they reveal their insecurity? Now contrast that with the quiet individual in the corner, the one who doesn't rush to speak, but when they finally do, the whole room falls silent. That is not weakness. That is mastery. That is the strength of saying nothing until the right moment comes. The Stoics of ancient Rome understood this secret well. They believed that silence is not emptiness. It is discipline, it is control, and above all, it is freedom. To remain silent when the world provokes you, when people misjudge you, when insults fly your way, this is not passivity, but power. Because in that silence, you choose not to be ruled by anger, pride, or the need to prove yourself. You choose to remain free. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, once wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul." Imagine that, the most powerful man in the world reminding himself daily that he does not need to respond to everything, does not need to win every argument, does not need to defend his ego at every turn. And yet, in our modern world, we are constantly pulled in the opposite direction. Social media urges us to react instantly, to comment, to argue, to clap back. We measure ourselves by how quickly we can fire off a response, forgetting that real strength does not lie in speed, but in restraint. A delayed word, or even better, a withheld word, often carries more weight than 1,000 impulsive replies. Let me tell you a story. A young man once asked the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, "How can I deal with insults?" Epictetus smiled and said, "If someone tells you that you have horns on your head, do you feel the need to check? Of course not. Then why rush to defend yourself against every word? Not all words deserve your energy." What a profound truth. Most of the noise that comes our way in life, criticism, gossip, judgment, has no real power unless we give it power. By reacting, by defending, by shouting back, we often hand over control of our peace to others. But when we remain silent, when we let the storm pass without being shaken, we show the world that we belong to ourselves. Silence, you see, is not the absence of voice. It is the presence of self-mastery. It is a statement that says, "I am not here to prove who I am. I already know." Think of the mountain. The winds howl, storms rage, yet the mountain does not shout back at the sky. It simply stands. And because it stands, unshaken, it becomes the very symbol of strength. This is what the Stoics invite us to practice, not the frantic need to explain ourselves, not the endless war of words, but the quiet dignity of a soul at peace with itself. And here is something you may not have realized. Silence doesn't just protect you from others, it also protects you from yourself. Every word we speak plants a seed in our own hearts. Angry words reinforce anger. Bitter words deepen bitterness. But silence interrupts the cycle. It gives us space to breathe, to reflect, to choose differently. In silence, we reclaim our freedom from our own impulses. So the next time someone insults you, or the world tries to drag you into an argument, remember this: you do not have to attend every battle you're invited to. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is smile, say nothing, and walk away. Because silence is not surrender. It is strategy. It is sovereignty. The Stoics knew that the less you say, the more each word matters. The quieter you are, the more your presence commands respect. And the less you react, the more peace you keep. In silence, you do not lose. In silence, you win the only battle that truly matters, the battle over yourself. And my friends, if these words resonate with you, if you too are on a journey to discover the calm strength within, then I invite you to stay with me. This is only the beginning. Together we will walk the path of Stoic wisdom, learning to master our emotions, to rise above judgment, and to live with dignity in a noisy world. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. If this message speaks to you, if you've ever felt the weight of unnecessary arguments or the exhaustion of defending yourself endlessly, then take a moment now. Like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this reminder today. Your support not only strengthens this channel, but also spreads Stoic wisdom to more souls searching for peace. Because remember, sometimes the greatest strength is found not in what we say, but in what we choose not to say. Silence is not just the absence of words. It is a presence in itself, a statement stronger than many speeches. To choose silence is to choose mastery over yourself, to resist the pull of ego and the desire to always be right. Think of a time when you were in a heated argument, perhaps with a friend, a family member, or even a colleague. Words came quickly, maybe too quickly, and afterward, you realized that half of what was said came from frustration rather than truth. The Stoics would call this a failure of self-control, a moment when passion ruled reason. Now imagine that same situation, but this time you pause. You let the other person speak, let them pour out their words, while you remain calm, observing. In that silence, you begin to see more clearly. Their frustration often reveals more about their state of mind than about your character. By staying silent, you learn. By not reacting, you hold on to your dignity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." This doesn't mean you never care. It means you are free. Free to choose whether or not someone's words deserve your energy. Free to step aside when the battle is not worth fighting. Seneca added that no one can harm you with words unless you grant them power. If you carry peace within, insults bounce off. Silence becomes your shield. It's not passive. It's active protection of your soul. And here's the truth. People notice silence. They notice the one who doesn't scramble to defend themselves. They notice the one who, instead of adding fuel to conflict, holds steady like a rock in the storm. Over time, that presence builds respect. Your silence speaks volumes. It shows strength, patience, and self-command. If this message resonates with you, let me remind you again, please like this video and subscribe. Supporting this channel helps spread Stoic wisdom to others who need it, and it keeps you connected to new reflections each week. So, let me ask, how would your relationships change if you responded with silence more often? How much unnecessary pain would disappear if you no longer let every criticism or insult dictate your reaction? The power of silence is not about being cold or distant. It is about being wise enough to know that your energy is too precious to waste on battles that do not matter. The strength of saying nothing is not about silence for its own sake. It is about choosing where to place your energy, your dignity, and your peace. The world will always test you. People will speak without thinking. Some will criticize, some will provoke, and others will misunderstand you. But each time, you are given a choice: to let their noise shake you, or to let silence preserve you. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that a person cannot lose their way unless they abandon their principles. Words from others cannot rob you of your character, unless you hand it over by reacting without control. That is why silence, in many moments, is the highest form of strength. It proves you are guided by reason, not by impulse. Think of silence as a mirror. When you don't react, the other person is left to face themselves. They hear their own words echoing back without your defense, without your resistance. And often, that reflection speaks louder than anything you could have said. The modern world makes this discipline harder. Social media, constant debates, endless opportunities to respond, everything invites us to speak without thinking. But perhaps this is exactly why Stoic wisdom is so needed today. To say nothing is to resist the culture of noise. To say nothing is to reclaim authority over yourself. And silence does not mean weakness. It means you are not desperate for approval. You are not chained to the opinions of others. You are steady, calm, and free. So, as we close, I want to invite you. Practice this. The next time someone criticizes you, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, do I need to respond? Or will silence speak more clearly than words ever could? Try it, and you may find that silence not only protects your peace, it transforms your presence. If you found value in today's reflection, I encourage you once again to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. And I want to hear from you. When was a time in your life that silence proved more powerful than words? Share your story in the comments. I'll be reading. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, may you carry the quiet strength of the Stoics into your daily life.